Tansei, I'm Krisanachkate. Welcome to APTN National News. Thank you for joining us. Pikangikum First Nation in Northern Ontario has declared a state of emergency due to a critical state of its water and wastewater infrastructure. Daily water conservation measures have been in place for months to prevent the closure of critical institutions, including the community's only school. In a statement, the First Nation says it has filed a motion in federal court for emergency relief from the Government of Canada. Pikangikum leadership is calling on Canada to uphold the honor of the Crown and address the urgent and immediate needs of the nation it says is on the brink of humanitarian disaster. Here's Dennis Ward with an update.
The First Nation says multiple studies over the last 2 decades have confirmed existing infrastructure is inadequate to meet current and projected needs, including for consumption, sanitation, and firefighting. The community's existing wastewater plant routinely fails, contaminating their lake and treated water reservoir. In the last 2 decades, Pikangikum has declared 4 states of emergency due to its lack of potable or running water. The last time was in 2024, and that remains in effect. More than 4,000 people call Pikangikum home, located roughly 500 kilometers northwest of Thunder Bay. Chief Patty Peters says when he was first elected chief at the age of 30, he did not have running water or a washroom in his home. Now at age 68, Peters is still without running water in his home or an indoor washroom. Peters says the people of Pikangikum live in conditions that would shock most Canadians.
A wildfire that has been burning all week in northwestern Manitoba is back to being out of control, forcing residents in the area to evacuate. The fire is burning just across the Saskatchewan River from the Paw in the Opaskwayak Cree Nation. The surrounding area is again at risk due to high winds and dry conditions. People were evacuated from several towns and settlements in the area of Clearwater Lake Provincial Park. Residents say high winds last night created extreme conditions in a matter of minutes. The province of Manitoba has now put a total ban on all motorized backcountry travel. Fires are also banned between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Fires in an approved pit are allowed outside those hours. 12 fires are now burning in Manitoba, keeping fire crews busy well into the weekend. The chief coroner of British Columbia has called for an inquest into the death of a First Nation woman found on a dock in Richmond in 2022. It comes just days after her family, along with 2 others, called on the BC government to re-examine the circumstances surrounding the deaths of 3 Indigenous women. APTN's Tina House has that story.
It's been an emotional past few years for Tatiana Harrisons after her daughter went missing on March the 24th, 2022. Last seen on surveillance video at this rural bank on Main and Hastings, and then later reported to have been last seen at the Grand Union Pub on Vancouver's downtown east side on April 22nd, 2022. She was officially reported missing on May 3rd, 2022.
She's in trouble. I know that. That's the feeling I have.
We first met Natasha in late spring of 2022 when her daughter was reported missing, and followed her journey as she handed up missing person posters every day and every night, hoping for answers.
Hi, I'm actually looking for my daughter. I was wondering if you guys have seen her around here. Her name's Tatiana. She's 20 years old.
On July 14th, 2022, RCMP in Richmond released this sketch of a woman found deceased on this dry dock yacht and claimed the woman was in her 30s or 40s and 5'5" and 90 pounds, Caucasian female. It wasn't until August the 5th, 2022, Natasha was notified that the woman they found on the yacht was actually her daughter. Harrison says police had her DNA but not tested with the unknown woman. And also, the sketch looks nothing like Tatiana. On top of that, Harrison claims, they also got another crucial clue wrong.
I don't know how they measured a 5'5". And then to look at, well, no, 5'5", my daughter's 5'1". You're asking a mother the height of her daughter, and I'm telling you, it's 5'1". There's no mistake. I didn't mismeasure my daughter.
On National Red Dress Day, Natasha made an emotional plea for a proper investigation into her daughter's death.
Now let me talk about my baby.
I miss my baby girl. Okay. Sorry, give me a second. I miss my baby girl. She is such an intelligent little light.
Harrison was joined by Josie August, the aunt of 13-year-old Noello Soup, who was found deceased in this small room rented in the Heatley building by a known sexual predator, and Sheila Poorman, the mother of 24-year-old Chelsea Poorman, whose body was found behind this vacant mansion in an affluent area of Vancouver after last being seen miles away in downtown Vancouver. At this press conference, along with their lawyers Sue Brown and Grand Chief Stuart Phillip of the Union of BC Indian Chiefs, they demanded the BC government open investigations into all 3 deaths. One day later, BC's chief coroner announced they would launch an inquest into the death of Tatiana, but stated the other 2 cases were also being considered.
It's challenging because they've all been on this journey together in a lot of ways. They've all been very supportive of one another. And so to see one go to inquest and the other 2 not has left them with a lot of questions that I hope the coroner will resolve in the days or weeks to come.
Until now, Natasha has refused to bury her daughter until they did all the testing to find out what happened to her. At first, the coroner said she died of a fentanyl overdose. Then, 6 months later, changed the cause of death to sepsis. And now another pathologist has said there is no evidence of sepsis.
I hope that it'll get inquests into Noello Soup and Chelsea Poorman. But I hope that we find out what happened to Tatiana. I hope that it opens the door for transparency.
No date has been announced yet as to when the inquest will start, and Harrison is just hoping the truth will be revealed once it's over. Only then, she says, will she be able to finally lay her daughter to rest. Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.
Lawmakers in Arizona have unanimously passed a bill named after Emily Pike, the 14-year-old Apache girl whose remains were found weeks after she disappeared from a group home. Known as Emily's Law, it directs the Arizona Department of Safety to create a turquoise alert system for Native American tribal members who go missing. Emily's family says the bill will make a big difference in the state there. The 14-year-old from the San Carlos Apache Reservation went missing from her group home in January earlier this year. An Amber Alert was never issued, and her family wasn't told about her disappearance from the group home until a week later. On February 14th, her remains were found in a wooded area about 100 miles away from the group home. No arrests were ever made. There is now a $150,000 reward for information leading to a conviction. The San Carlos Tribal Council has been calling for U.S. officials to investigate group homes there. Construction of an Indigenous youth transitional housing development is well underway in Thunder Bay. The project is being developed by Ontario Aboriginal Housing Services and will be managed by the Thunder Bay Indigenous Friendship Centre and the Métis Nation of Ontario. APTN's Mike McDonald reports.
The housing project will support urban Indigenous youth 18 to 29 who are homeless or at risk. It will also help young people with addiction and mental health challenges to become independent. Charlene Baglin, Executive Director of the Thunder Bay Indigenous Friendship Centre, says it's a service that is badly needed.
We already receive phone calls from people leaving messages wanting to move in, and they want to make sure their name is, being taken and recorded, and so it's very urgent in the city here.
Katie Bordelin, the Friendship Center's Director of Housing, says wraparound services will be provided.
We'll be providing 24-hour support, case management support, all the services that the Friendship Center offers, including our justice programs, wellness programs, to support people for transitional housing, to help them, have a safe place to call home, a place to land, and as they progress through our program, they will transition into stage 2, which will be run by Métis Nation of Ontario.
Jacqueline Reynard with the Métis Nation of Ontario says residents will be prepared for life outside of the facility, and they will be responsible for determining their own needs.
Programs could be personalized. They're going to be whatever they think would be best for their lives. So maybe it could be, they need some budgeting. If they want some budgeting education, maybe they need vehicle maintenance. It's whatever they see would help them achieve their goals.
Jean Nawagijik, an elder from Gull Bay First Nation, helped come up with a name for the project, Oshkeak Dibinawang. Oshkeak is Michif for young people, and Dibinawang means in shelter from the wind in the Anishinaabe language.
A lot of the programming here is based on a holistic concept of culture, and you see these ladies explaining, each component will have a cultural, spiritual aspects to it, design and everything.
At the front of the building, very visible from Junot Avenue, is a drum. It is an area where individuals, participants can come and participate in ceremony, perhaps maybe clean medicines, have one-on-one kinds of discussions with seniors and other elders and knowledge keepers in the community.
The Youth Transitional Housing Project is set to be completed by January 2026. Mike McDonald, APTN National News, Thunder Bay.
We have more stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Two Indigenous groups in Saskatchewan are making a power move, getting into the energy business. CTV's Mick Favel reports.
A new wind and solar facility is in the works for south central Saskatchewan. The project is a collaboration between Sask Power, Potentia, the Meadow Lake Tribal Council, and Mistawasis Naheyawak First Nation. The chance for more renewable energy production is exciting for all involved.
To make power from wind, to make power from the sun, what Creator has made, it's a no-brainer for us, and for us to be one step closer to self-sufficient.
Once finished in late 2027, the facility will be made up of 28 wind turbines and over 200,000 solar panels. During the Golden South Wind Facility's construction south of Assiniboia, roughly 40% of the working crew was from Saskatchewan. There are plans to hire more locals this time around.
Luckily for us, from both economic point of view and from a community spirit point of view, it's better for us to hire local. So that's something we fully intend to do, and I think we can do better than that 40%.
Both Indigenous partners will own 51% of the project, making it the largest Indigenous ownership to date for a project of this size in the province.
We have First Nation, Indigenous and First Nation partners across our portfolio, and it's something we think is important. There's a lot of programs, as Minister Harrison referenced, that allow First Nations and other Indigenous nations to come in as true partners.
The new wind project will be built 30 kilometers east of Assiniboia, while the solar field will be built south of Cornac. All power generated by the two facilities will be purchased by Sask Power. Mick Favel, CTV News, Regina.
The prestigious Soie Art Award is now in its 22nd year. The annual award recognizes artists from coast to coast, including the North. Our Yukon reporter Sarah Connors caught up with an artist from the Yukon who's up for this year's prize.
Art is a sacred practice for Guna Megan Jensen. Jensen, who is Tlingit and lives in Whitehorse, is perhaps best known for her formline art. Much of her work focuses on personal stories she tells with paintbrush and canvas in the art form of her people.
When I'm painting or I'm drawing, I just feel so connected with a past, with like the voices of my ancestors.
Jensen's talent hasn't gone unnoticed. She has been long-listed for the Soie Art Award. The prestigious award celebrates excellence in Canadian art and comes with a $100,000 grand prize.
I got an email and I looked at my phone and it said, like, congratulations. I was in shock. And then I started crying. Sometimes it's knowing the palette and knowing that I have to go in with feeling.
Jensen says many of her paintings are created while she's processing her emotions. That includes this painting, Gaslighter Chokes on Their Own Smoke, which tells her story of feeling victim to narcissism. The painting was part of her nomination submission for the Soie Award.
It's a fun painting because people, when they first look at it, they tend to be like, oh, that's so beautiful. And then people that know how to read form line, they're like, oh, that's like pretty violent.
Shortlisted artists will be announced next month and will receive $25,000, while remaining longlisted artists will receive $10,000. The winner of the Soie Award will be announced in November during a celebration at the National Gallery of Canada. Jensen says she's thrilled her work is being recognized on a national scale.
It's not about the money, or to me anyway, it's just even the recognition is such an honor.
Whether she wins the grand prize or not, she simply hopes her work will continue to resonate with everyone who appreciates the stories she chooses to tell. Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Whitehorse.
Thank you, Sarah. Time now for a short break. Stay with us. Starting on East Charlottetown 4, sunny in Halifax at 11. Cartwright 8, La Grande River 11. Saint Jovite 6, Quebec City rain and 5. Toronto 12, Ottawa 11 and sun. Sudbury 12, Thunder Bay 9. The Paw 8, Norway House 7. 11 in Gimli, Barons River 5. North Battleford 11, Estevan 15 and sun. 5 in Stony Rapids, Buffalo Narrows sunny there as well, 9. Rain in Fort Chipewyan at 18, Peace River 18. 29 in Lethbridge, Medicine Hat 30. 13 in Tofino, Penticton 23. Sand Spit 10, Smithers 13. Mayo 12, Whitehorse 11. 8 in Wrigley, Fort Liard 19. Inuvik -6, Fort McPherson -2. -6 in Chesterfield, Whale Cove -5. And Arctic Bay -10, Resolute -12. A new training program is providing skills to First Nations in northern Manitoba and leading to jobs in the mining sector. The program is a partnership between Hudbay Minerals and the Northern Manitoba Sector Council. It combines life skills training and hands-on mining experience, focusing on safety underground operations and mine rescue. For more on this, our Dennis Ward recently spoke to Sandra Doverspike, the Director of Human Resources and External Relations for Hudbay Minerals.
Sandra, thanks for being with us. Can you start by telling us about the program and the need for it?
So Mining Fundamentals came about for a couple of reasons. As we've been doing recruiting, we're noticing that we're finding less and less people coming into our business from our northern communities, and the market's getting tighter and tighter. As well, we're seeing people from our northern communities head to further south or other provinces, not understanding that there are career opportunities within the north, and they haven't been exposed to them. So the program really for us helps us tap into resources that we haven't tapped into in the past, building a talent pipeline. It also helps us keep capacity within our communities and help with the economic growth of our communities. So our initial outlook was just to address those couple of items. It's building a talent pipeline and also keeping people in the north.
Can you tell us what the participants are learning in the program?
So the program is a little bit fluid. Our first cohort came in the beginning of this year. The initial program started off where they spend 3 weeks with a group that we've partnered with, which is the Northern Manitoba Sector Council. So what they did was they helped the participants with the life skills portion of it, what it means to be working in heavy industry, what camp life might be like, what kind of paperwork, etc. you need to be in this kind of industry. And then what they did was they spent 3 weeks with them. Then they came to us for a 6-week program where they followed the schedule of 7 on, 7 off, the same as our employees, to really get exposure to what does that look like to work a schedule in a mine. And while they were here, the first thing they were introduced to was safety, which is our most important thing every day on the job. We have a very robust internal program called Home Safe Every Day, which really teaches people to understand that safety is a collective effort. Our Home Safe Everyday program is an interdependent safety culture, so it's a shared responsibility amongst everyone to ensure the safety of people on the job every day. So there's a big component on that. Then they got to spend time underground where they job shadowed with employees. So each day they were put with a different employee, got to try out a few different jobs. So really get a feel for the environment, the different opportunities that are there, and actually get to interact one-on-one with employees that are already within those positions to get a real feel for the job. And then also they got some exposure to some of the different things like our mine rescue program, our health and safety teams. They got an opportunity to go see the mills and obviously stay in the camp and within the community to experience. We want them to have a fulsome experience when coming to this program.
Now, I understand all of the participants from that first course have all been hired on. Can you talk about how big the need is for workers up there?
Yeah, so we had 9 participants in the first group coming from Opaskwayak and the Muskegon Cree Nations. What was really great to see in that group was we had 2 women as well. So we don't see a lot of women coming into mining. So that exposure, having 2 women coming in and then being able to go back to their communities, talk to their friends, talk to their siblings about what mining is and the opportunity there is just going to bring more women, also more people from these other communities, opening it up for us. So the need for those 9, we were easily able to take them into the workforce. What we see is we just constantly have attrition with people retiring, etc. We've got still a bit of an older workforce. They're leaving, every day somebody else retires and moves on and enjoys their life outside of here. And so now we're going to take another 10 here right now. They've actually just started with Northern Manitoba Sector Council. And if they're successful through the program, all 10 will be brought into our business as well. And we see that as a continuous need. So we plan to run another program in the fall, and we'll just keep assessing the needs as it goes and run a program each time we have the vacancies to fill.
Good stuff, Sandra. We'll leave it there, but appreciate you talking to us about the course.
Okay, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate the opportunity to talk about it.
Thank you, Dennis. And joining us, as she always does on a Friday, is host of Nouvelle Nationale, your weekly French news magazine, Kim Sullivan. Hey, Kim.
Hey, Creason, it's a packed show tonight, from Red Dress Day to the protection of caribou to a cute story about a young hockey team meeting their idols. We have it all, including the launch of an amazing new digital tool that gathers all in one place up-to-date information of services available to the Indigenous community here in Montreal. And did you know there's a small northern Quebec community on the way of becoming the first Innu African community? It's the subject of a doc, and we speak to the producer. I did that all in one breath. Watch it tonight at 6:30, Creason.
Hi, thank you, Kim. And that's your daytime newscast for this Friday. Dennis Ward is back for your evening newscast in a few hours. Please join us then. From all of us at APTN National News, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next Monday, and have a safe weekend. Excellent.